As you watch this, see if you can spot the different laser questioning techniques which are being used. For example, which of these 7 5W2H questions, which is who, what, why, when, where, and how much? What parts of the mind is the question targeting? Is it the thinking side or the feeling side? Then are the questions easy or challenging? And am I giving Corben time to think and respond? And finally, are the questions what's called funneling? You can check that on the web. Funneling can either be from a very broad starting point to a very narrow specific, or you can funnel in the other direction and move from a specific up to a broad concept or situation. And as you question someone, you must not machine gun them with one question after another. You must pace your questions and give the student or the recipient time to think, because you want them to change. So you need to support them as they respond to you. The subconscious is very shy. It likes to withdraw and it likes to defend its position. So you have to give it permission and time to inquire and to adapt. They're techniques which take quite a long time to learn, but they're very valuable soft skills.
So my first question is, how do you feel about what we just watched?
Uncomfortable. I feel like I wasn't particularly happy with a lot of my facial expressions, actually. Showed that I wasn't comfortable with doing what I was doing. I think I was definitely more confident in my speech. It wasn't so much what I was saying that I suppose I'm thinking about it now as opposed to feeling.
No, just respond authentically.
Yeah.
It was totally artificial that I started on laser questioning, but at the same time I want to start introducing these concepts, because rather than separate them out into lectures and PowerPoints and stuff like that, I want this to be integrated learning. In the here and now as we do it.
Yeah, that's how we'll learn, won't we? So,
well, I think it's the best way.
Absolutely.
And if you go back 2,000 years to when young people like yourself went to the academy in Greece or in Rome, this is how they learn. This is how they learned. They didn't have PowerPoint in ancient Greece. And they didn't write much down either.
They just spoke to one another.
They did. They spoke to their mentor, tutor, whatever, and they spoke to one another and they discussed things, and the mentor would put a question to them and see them sort it out, and then they would present to the mentor and the group what they thought, and it would be highly interactive, highly dynamic.
Okay, well, in response to, I'll just continue answering authentically then.
I tell you what, I'm not going to ask many more questions. A broad, simple question. How do you feel and what do you think of what we just saw?
Like I was saying, I think my facial expressions showed that I wasn't confident, that I was almost cringing at my future self watching this back. Cringe being an important word.
Well,
I was about to,
these aren't judgments.
No, not at all.
They're
just
keys.
Key words. Yeah, absolutely.
That we can use.
Yeah.
So the reason I do it is it's very important to use a person's own language.
Yes. I wasn't critiquing.
Now you have an expression you like to say like rather than as.
I've stopped that now.
Well, no, you haven't, because you did it about a minute ago.
Yeah. I'm trying to stop it now.
Yes, that's great. That's great. So let's just come back, because I'm just altering the conversation. Thoughts and feelings.
I felt better about what I was saying. I felt like it flowed at the end. It was flowing less, but for most of it, I thought it did flow. yeah, my feelings were generally negative, if I'm honest, but I feel like at the moment they do tend to be when I do that, when I watch myself doing something individually. It's not music. I tend to be like, that's bad.
Interesting. Okay, can I come in straight away?
Yeah.
And we'll come back to it. I talked to you about that. A lot of life is two sides of a coin. It's hope and fear.
Mm.
It's that's bad, this is good. So if you're feeling or thinking, that's bad. If I were to look at what's behind that on the other side of the coin, I would say, well, this is a good indicator that this person wants to do better. That you're not giving up, you know what I mean?
No, I'm not giving up at all.
You're not crying.
No,
not that crying is giving up. Crying is an adjustment behaviour. I've seen lots of very, mature people, men and women, cry because they get so frustrated with the way that people can watch themselves like that for the first time and cry.
I wasn't so uncomfortable with it that I'd cry, but I'd like to watch it back and be like, confident delivery. His conversation flowed. I was engaged. Also, I think hearing my voice back for the first, I've obviously heard my voice before, recorded, but watching myself for that long and listening to myself, you never like the sound of your own voice because it sounds different. Yeah, it was generally, I was picking up on the negative points. I think my only positive point was I felt like I kept talking, which was more than can be said for the other ones, but I definitely don't think it was confident. It was more confident, but I didn't watch it back and enjoy it.
Okay.
I wasn't like, that was great.
But flipping that over, in a way, what you're saying is, I can do better.
I think I could absolutely. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how to do better.
But do you feel you can?
I feel like I absolutely could.
You feel it's within you?
Oh, 10 out of 10. I think, yeah, 10 out of 10. I don't know why I said that.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do.
Why do I like it?
Because it's 100%. I get it.
It's quantitative.
Yes.
And it conveys emotion.
Yes. I do think I could do better than I did do. I think it's within me, totally. But I feel like if I were to do it again, I'd have a very similar experience at the moment. I think I need to focus. Actually, I don't know. I watched it back and I did pick some things up, but I think if I'd need something to focus on,
Corben is effectively asking me to tell him what to do so that he can be better. But that is best coming from himself. In a way, I'm challenging his own subconscious to change the scripting that he had embedded in him, or more correctly, he embedded for himself by the time he was 7. From the literally millions of ways his subconscious can change, only he knows the best way to do it and can do the necessary reprogramming to that age 7 script. But I'm confident because he is motivated, he will be able to make that change. And the key to change is to have a sense of purpose and be committed and then ready to do the necessary practice. And it looks like we will be doing that in the next step. Behavior patterns are laid down over years, so you need to be ready to invest at least a couple of hours and have an open mind so that you can in fact make the change. And you will see that Corben does succeed in this within an hour or two.
Don't play with things on the table. Don't look away from the camera all the time.
So this is, like you're talking about fear again, aren't you? You're saying if you did do it again, the camera will show you later. You're expressing fears. You're still expressing fears.
I don't know if they're not so much fears as opposed to things that I just correct in order to enjoy it again.
Yeah. So, but your focus on what your wording is about your fears that you'll be worse,
yes.
or you'll still do things badly.
Yeah, I think that if I'm scared of something, it's because it's not within my control. Whereas if I were to use,
I want your mindset. I'm interrupting you. I want your mindset to change. I want you to start hoping and thinking positively.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay. Well, I hope so. It's in.
Not in a what's called Pollyanna way.
I think what you're saying is I should say the same things, but I should phrase them in a positive manner as opposed to a negative manner.
Yes.
So as opposed to I should stop fiddling with things on the table. I should say, I hope that my hands are more relaxed during the duration of the video, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Relaxed, controlled,
composed.
Composed is a great.
That's
or
I'd
even
like to do today.
contribute. You know, this stuff. You remember I talked to you about style, content, and pace.
Mm-hmm.
Positive language is what I'm looking for, and it's in you. We just need to bring it out. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is that's kind of a bit of an interaction about it. Now I'd like to play it again, and what we'll both do as it flows in real time is we'll make comments. Okay, but the fact it's flowing in real time will stop me talking too much.
Okay,
so I'll just be making quick points.
Let me stop this and start this again.
Remember, you're going to learn more from watching yourself, and even more than watching this cat. So, good luck.